let's explore more autistic history and the Autism Wars. This is part 70 of the series. So, in the last video, I was just sharing with you the 1997 July update Cure Autism Now organization put out about their accomplishments in the first 18 months that their organization existed. And so we have the an autism coordinating agency being talked about, and this is going to give birth to the IACC later, the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee or something like that. That's United States, and yeah, so more about that going forward in future videos. But and then they talk about the Autism Genetic Resource Exchange, the AGRE. There's pilot studies or connections with NIH, and their powerhouse of parents being able to pressure and get attention for legislation and make a difference and get money funded. I'm trying to see the last part of this. So picking up where I left off, there's two more parts to this that will speak to the power of these parent advocates. For years, the scientific community has had very little to offer people with autism and their families, but that time is gone. Recent advances in neuroscience, molecular biology, and genetics hold out real hope for progress. We must not be afraid to embrace the scientific community, but rather we should encourage them and continue to use our power to motivate them. This recent budget increase is a great start, and it happened because of families like us. This next part describes their visit to Washington. The week of February 23rd, 1997, CAN parents from around the country flew into Washington, D.C. to spend the week visiting their congressmen who were on the Health and Human Services Appropriations Committee. These dedicated parents presented the facts about long-standing neglect of autism research and requested increased research for funding the third most common developmental disorder and the most underfunded common childhood disease today. Autism is not a disease. All right, the parents from CAN met with health staffers of over 30 members of Congress. The parents of Cure Autism Now met with health staffers of over 30 members of Congress. They didn't allow us to have any space in their 30 members as autistic people. Autism community is included. The autistic community is excluded here. Again, so of special note, there were the direct meetings with Representative Porter, chair of the House Subcommittee on Health and Human Services, and Senator Arlen Specter, chair of the Senate Subcommittee of Health and Human Services. So, yeah, they got quite a bit done in those first 18 months, and they sure as hell were able to silence and exclude us from any of this representation. There was nothing about us there. We were excluded completely, and they did it knowingly. This is not a mistake. This is not an oversight. The Autism Wars are already happening, and they are very aware of autistic activists. They are very aware of the autistic community. They are very aware of all of it, and you never even hear a peep of it on the public side. It's like we really just don't fucking exist, and they love it like that. Oh, and the discrediting tactics that went on with it, right? I mean, they actively sabotaged autistic people from having a voice in any of this, any of it, and it was done on purpose. Don't ever forget that part. In 97, we also, over here on the timeline, have the collaborative programs of excellence in autism network created by the National Institutes of Child Health and Development. We have a 1997 Cure Autism Now consensus conference in Los Angeles. So it was held for the urgent purpose of bringing together the top experts in clinical or in the autism clinical research community to establish for the first time a consensus statement of the autism phenotype and guidelines for a medical workup in autism. The meeting resulted in a publication of the autism screening and diagnostic evaluation, thus providing an incredibly useful initial assessment tool for clinicians at a time when autism was still rarely discussed. In the 1997 fall-winter update I'm going to share with you here in a moment, there is a nod to the Autism Wars that have been happening between the autism community fronts. I'll share part of that here with you, but it says in the past, the autism community, mind you, this is not the autistic community, we don't exist, has been weakened from within by disagreements between various groups over issues such as aversives, that's ABA's, restraints and seclusion maybe, inclusion, diagnostics, etc. But there is so much more on which we all agree. Most importantly, that we must work for a better life for people with autism. If organizations like CAN, Cure Autism Now, ASA, Autism Society of America, ARI, which is Autism Research Institute, NAAR, which is National Alliance for Autism Research, AIA, what is that one again? I'll look it up, I forgot it, and DDR, I'm gonna look that one up too, can work together, there is no end to what we can accomplish. So if all of these organizations can get along, there is no end to what could be accomplished. These are the powerhouses in the autism community. These are the organizations that have the parent advocates, and each organization has a very dedicated group of advocates that are promoting their agenda, thinking that's the way and the light, I guess. Anyhow, all these people have vastly different ideas, and they're on the different fronts of the autism community. You have genetics and research here. You've got complementary alternative medical care over here. You've got ABA behaviorism over here. And all of this is controversial, every bit of it. But they're bringing in parents, and these parents are true believers, man. They really are. They really do want to make a better way for their autistic children, but they don't realize what they've been funneled into, and they don't realize how they're being used, and they're making not a better future for their autistic children that's already born and alive today. But they don't know this because the autistic community is not allowed to be heard, and the people and powers that be in these autism organizations that were parent founded, parent run, NT founded, NT run, they sure as hell aren't going to let us get heard. And if we are heard, if we do make our way across on a bridge to parents somehow, they will whip around either camp of the autism community, and none of it matters. They all will turn around and blast one of us who has no giant money backing, who has just themselves. And they use their power to silence us completely, no matter what camp they are in, no matter what front they are fighting each other on in the autism community. If the autism community is included, you know how this goes. The autistic community is excluded.